kidding. All right, folks, here we go. Disclaimers. Here we go. Freedom of speech. It's that simple. We are here under freedom of speech, one of many innumerable rights by the people, for the people. So anything we say here tonight, we're going to call it opinions, expressions, whatever. We're not going to call it legal advice. We're not going to call it all the junk they want us to call it. We're just going to call it talking. So everybody on this call is welcome to chime in. Nobody has to agree. It's okay that we don't agree. Just be kind and considerate. Don't kill each other, and just have a good time. So, we're going to do some overview, folks. What we're going to talk about tonight, I got a lot of response on the PSQ. So I guess the best thing to do, I could do an overview, and I guess because I'm leading the call, I get to do what I want, but I don't want to be too repetitive. Let me do this. Is there anybody on this call and that wants to discuss anything about the PSQ and what we discussed last week?
I wasn't on the call last week. What is a PSQ?
Okay, here we go. So just for this one person, we're going to do this, and that's okay because we all need to hear it a couple times anyways.
Thank you.
We talked about fear last week and how fear can cripple. So the reality of it is, in the environment we work in, we talked a lot about Joseph, for those of us who are scripture people, and don't be offended if you're not, just hear me out. If you've got a better way, we're willing to hear it. But Joseph became great inside of Pharaoh's system. He didn't necessarily buck his system. He didn't give into his system. He wasn't sold out. He didn't sell out either. Many people over the years have said to me, Mike, how can you have a copyright on this artwork? How can you do this, and this, and yet claim you're a sovereign? I'm like, well, it's because I'm a sovereign that I can do all that. So there are people on this call, I'm sure, who are purists. And what I mean by purist is don't take the driver's license, don't take the marriage license, don't do the vaccines, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine with all that. I have found for me, and the ability to control the straw man and the artwork and do all that, it's easier to just control both realms. And that's just my opinion of how I do it. The ability to work in the non-public sector, i.e. private, and we got to be careful because private to the public people means public, and we know it's just a whole big thing there about I say non-public. I know how to work in the non-public sector and do what I need to do. I also know how to work in the commercial venue and do what I need to do, all the while controlling the straw man and controlling myself. So we talked about fear. A lot of people, the big hot topic these days is the OID process, the 1099A process. And more than not, I'm hearing about, people who are actually have already implemented the process going forward saying, well, what do I do if they come knock on my door? Well, I would say that for those of you we like remedies. We like the idea of getting all these benefits, and I'll call it that, benefits, and yet not knowing why we're doing it. For many years I've been, trying to deal with people and help people, and I call them truth people versus remedy people. The truth people do the truth because it's true, and it doesn't matter what happens because of it. The remedy people do what they're doing because they want something out of it, and when something bad happens, the truth doesn't matter anymore. So more than not, I get remedy people. They wanted to do the OID process. They had no clue why it should work. They had no clue why it was going to or not going to work, but yet they did it. So in compassion for those groups of people, just because somebody makes mistakes and doesn't use intelligence when going into processes or know the entire process, the reason we get into those pitfalls is because we like others to think for us. I have stated for a long time, if you pay an attorney to go and work for you, you first of all legally declared yourself a ward of the state, an infant of unsound mind, but you have not governed yourself. That's why an attorney will tell you in his writings, govern yourself or be governed. It's because that's what they intend to do. So for those of us out there who are just taking money, just taking resources so that we can now be that thinker for the other person, I believe that's a huge mistake. For those of you who just want to pay people to do things for you, I believe it's a huge mistake. All that being said, I don't think you should have to go to jail for your mistakes. So we brought up the PSQ. It's probably, in my opinion, and I don't have all the information in the world, but the effect I've seen and what I've been through myself, the most powerful offense to stop things that I've ever seen. And what it is, and it's very simple. We'll go through it again. Congress, because Congress is for the people and by the people, or at least it should be, has decreed in 21 prescribed congressional statutes that Congress gets to know the public servant before the public servant gets to know you. So what that means is, and I gave out templates for all last week, if a public servant comes to your door, Congress has set up, because Congress should have been by the people, and if we the people were running Congress and the servants who serve in Congress, we would have done something like this. We would have said, hey, because it's for the people by the people and you're a servant, we're going to make sure that when one of you comes to one of our doors that you got to go through a whole rigmarole in order to even get to question us. In other words, we the people, because we are the government, so if anybody calls you anti-government, say to them, I love people. I don't know what you mean. You know, they want you to believe, they want you. And when I say they, I'm not saying all of government. I'm saying the rogue agents who work outside of their capacity and just want to get on a power trip. They want you to say government is them. They want you to forget that the Constitution was written by us for our servants as their rule book. It wasn't written for us. They want you to forget that the Bill of Rights, which billed the Constitution, it charged it. It's a bill. It's a bill. It's a bill. It said Constitution. Constitution, you never discussed the rights of man because you weren't written for man. You were written by man for the servant. Let's call it a employee handbook, if we will. It wasn't written for the people, written by the people for the servant. The servants start getting out of line, so therefore we bill the servants in their Constitution with a Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights charges the Constitution, and I read it last week, and I barely found it, but I did. And I'll read it again because it needs to be understood because it's your victory before it even gets going. Article 9. Everywhere you look now, you're going to see Bill of Rights Amendment. Amendment 1 through 10 mostly. It's not true, folks. There's one amendment to the Constitution. Only one properly ratified via the Constitution. That is Amendment 1, 10 articles therein, which is the Bill of Rights. Article 9 of the Bill of Rights says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people, and that others is rights. We have enumerated rights, and because the servants started to get out of line and think that the Constitution was their authority rather than their servant's book, we billed them. We said, oh, by the way, now we're going to discuss rights. We have enumerated rights. You can never breach those rights, and have a nice day. You've been charged. So that's kind of how it worked. Well, because it was set up that way, it made sense that we, the people, told Congress, listen, we want measures. We want checks and balances. If a servant wants to go investigate on behalf of the master, the people, another person, in other words, if the master makes the servant go look at one of the people because one of the people may actually be doing something wrong, there's still protocol. So 21 prescribed congressional statutes state that the public servant must, and I say must, answer this public servant questionnaire before the servant ever gets to talk to one of we the people. Congress gets to know who the servant is before the servant gets to know who you are. And if the servant doesn't go ahead and fill out this PSQ, before we even get going, has violated 21 congressional statutes. So let me tell you about the power of that. The power of that is, public servant comes to my door, knocks on my door. Is Mike Biter here? I don't know. Is he? Who are you? Such and such from DOJ, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. Here you go, sir. I have this little PSQ. First of all, may I have your business card? Hold on. Somebody just got you on. What does that mean? Somebody just told me I'm on an internet feed. So help me out with that, guys. When I record, am I going over the web? Does anybody know TalkShoe, how it works?
Yes, Mike, yeah. You are.
Is that for real?
Yeah, it's a live.
So I need to start, because I thought we fixed that today, Steve. I thought we said no to that.
No, you're going to, people can listen online.
You know what?
It's not public. It's not public. It's
an
unlisted call.
Okay, fair enough. I'm cool with that then. I'm cool with that. Listen, I had a radio.
The only way they got is the link.
Okay, I just don't want to get any more death threats. So I'm cool with that. That's good enough. Okay, so here we go, folks. So anyways, Congress, because Congress was established by the people, for the people, we would have said, Congress, pass these 21 prescribed statutes. We wouldn't have called them statutes, but it is what it is. I'm not going to get into de facto law versus de jure law tonight, but the reality of it is if it were true law, we would have said, by the way, Congress, go ahead and enact these policies so that when the servant comes to our door, we've got checks and balances. So when the PSQ goes forth to the servant, he knocks on the door, you get to say, may I have your card? You get to hand them the PSQ with a nice cover writing. You get to then say, please fill this out. So folks, if you're not talking, please mute yourself, and you can't be talking because I am, *6. So you get to say, can you please go ahead and fill this out and get it back to me within 10 business days, please? So at the end of the day, once that takes place, your next job is to go inside, get on your typewriter, create a writing, letting your congressman know that on such and such day, at such and such time, public servant from DOJ or FBI stopped by my abode, and I gave him this PSQ. Please, Mr. Congressman, open up a file number and get back to me and let me know that he's answered you. You see what that does, folks? I am telling you right now, I'm telling you, if they fail at that, everything we do is for 20 good people, and I mean a grand jury, because that's as hard as it gets, folks. Everything you do must be with the foresight that when 20 good people get to see this, I get to say before they ever say anything, Mr. U.S. Attorney, because you got a PSQ too, can we go ahead and explain to the 20 good people here, if you ever decide to go to grand jury, which is corporate, that's up to you. I'm just saying, for the fear-based people, you're probably going to show up. So why not show up having everybody that's going to talk about you already violating 21 prescribed congressional statutes? Because you get to say in front of 20 jurors, before we get going here today, your policy says ABC, so then why did you X, Y, Z? And when one of the jurors says, what do you mean? Well, I handed out a PSQ, and I also, for your pleasure, wrote down 21 prescribed laws, if they're going to call it law, because they will when they use it against you, that says they had to answer this or else they created high misdemeanors and felonies. And everybody who's about to talk about me or a name similar to mine has already attempted at least 4 high-class misdemeanors and at least 3 felonies. So before we get going, I need you to know that all these guys are felons, and I can prove it. Here you go, because I sent this to my congressman. I opened up a file number. I've got the green Form 3811 that says they received the writing. Here's a copy of it that went through a notary. Why, if your policy says ABC, did you X, Y, Z and violate 21 congressional statutes, yet you, the honest one, are going to sit here and talk about me today or a name similar to mine or artwork that I have copyrighted? So do you folks understand that? And Congress gets to know the servant before the servant gets to know you, and it works every time, all the time. Any questions on that? No. No,
Mike,
from everybody?
you said you had sample documents that distributed last week?
I've passed them out to a great amount of people so far, but if you need them, whoever got you to this call, a lot of people should have those by now. But yes, I don't know. We are setting up to download documents, and by next week, I'll have that mastered, but you should be able to get them from somebody. But I'll have a specific site to go to where you can pick up all these documents.
Shout out an email real quick. I'll send them to you.
Yeah, if you guys want to do that, shout out an email. Somebody will take it down. I appreciate whoever said that. That helps me. That's great.
This came from... Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tim. This is Randy. I'll speak next.
Okay, just real quick. This works also if you receive a letter, I'm sure, right?
I would call a letter ABC. If you receive a writing, yes, it does. But I'm just being funny with you. But anyways, yes, if you receive a writing, and on the, let me pull this up here, folks, because I'm going to read you this, because it's extremely powerful, and then we're going to get a little bit into abatement and how that's as simple and as easy and as it works. Go ahead. Somebody wants to speak, obviously, yes. Somebody saying? Who keeps... I apologize, folks.
When you say that works every time, what kind of results are you speaking about? It works how every time?
Well, hey, hey, Jim, are you here with us tonight? Hey, guys,
I'm here.
Hear ladies. If you're not talking, please *6. If you're not talking, because I hear a lot of background noise. Let's be polite, please. I don't want to have to cut people off the line. *6 if you're not talking. Hey, Jim, why don't you talk about your last 11 experiences at the federal level with this issue?
Well, I don't know what the count is, but we had several people that received inquiries from the agency in various forms, all the way down to we had one guy that was supposed to appear on Thursday, produce books and records, and I told him, I said, well, I would PSQ him, and he said, well, what's that? Well, anyway, long story short, he apologized for the short notice, but he had a concern about the nature of this meeting and would they please answer these questions. Well, he never showed up for the meeting, and they didn't get back to him. So, well,
and that's happened. This when I say it works every time, all the time, it's because it does. In other words, if they could, here's what it's going to do for you guys. Here's what it's going to do, plain and simple. If you do a PSQ and you alert your congressman via CC through a notary and say, open a file and let me know when this man answers you, Congress, what did you just do? Somebody please tell me what you just did by doing that. Who now is involved in something you never wanted to touch?
Your congressman.
Thank you. Yeah. So the bottom line is, he doesn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. He doesn't want to get near it, and he certainly is going to make a phone call about it. So the reality of it is that, yes.
I just want to add, in a couple of cases so far, we've had congressmen write back and say, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We will look into it. And everything went silent. We heard no more correspondence back from the agents that made the initial inquiry.
Now watch this, folks. Now watch this, and I'm going to say this without being insulting. Watch this, lazy ones. What's the next step? 10 days after the PS Form 3811 comes back, Congressman so-and-so, doing business as all caps, Congressman so-and-so. I'm very concerned. Your office was mandated to make sure that this public servant so-and-so operated within the bounds of his authority, and I have not heard from you. Please follow up with me. I'm relying, watch this now, listen everybody, shh, be very quiet. I am relying on your non-response as admission that Agent so-and-so was operating outside of his authority. Now let me ask you folks something. Can he not respond now?
Oh.
I'm relying on your silence as whatever fancy words you want to use, that public servant so-and-so has operated outside the bounds of his authorities. If you disagree with this writing, please take 10 days. I have attached a prepaid envelope for your return to me about this correspondence. 10 more days goes by. You ready, lazy ones? Congressman so-and-so, thank you. I now feel more peaceful. I now know for sure, due to your silence, that Agent so-and-so was operating outside of the bounds of his authority. In grace and mercy, please don't fire Agent so-and-so. Just make him just make sure he's aware of the limitations of his authority. Thank you, Congressman so-and-so. God bless America. Now, watch this, folks. You take that as exculpatory evidence before a grand jury, it's done. It's over. They will never let you get there. They will never let you get there. They will never let you get there.
Mike?
Anybody have? Yes.
This is Jason in Florida. How are you?
Hey, Jason. You're right near me, aren't you, Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta meet for lunch, man. What's up?
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, when you go ahead and you notice the congressman, you have that PSQ out there. Aren't you essentially binding the congressman into a contract?
Oh, don't you listen? And not only are you doing that, when you Reliance, for those of you legals, and I know we got probably some what do you call those guys who I was on the phone with one last Tuesday? The guys who help out the attorneys. Well, come on, guys, give me the
Paralegal.
Yeah, those guys. Reliance. If there's any ex-attorneys or if there's even any federal agents on the phone who really like us, speak up, because reliance is everything. When I tell a congressman I'm relying on your silence as admission of all stated herein, and he goes silent, are you kidding me?
Power.
Does that open you up the ability to start running an administrative process at that point?
Well, okay, the administrative processes. I open the floor to that because I'm going to tell you what I did. You ready? Ready for the next step? And when I say lazy ones, I just mean all of you who are lazy. So if you're not lazy, don't be offended. Watch this now. Step 4. Congressman so-and-so, can you please send me, hold on one sec. Who can't?
For people that have children in the background, will you please respect this call and mute your phone for the last time?
Okay, so, ready for step 4, folks? Congressman so-and-so, you have not responded, even though I relied on your silence. Can you please send me the form one would fill out if they've been harmed by your office? Holy Moses, what did I just say? Congressman so-and-so, I relied on your silence, and watch this. Agent so-and-so wrote me a writing the other day that seems to allow me to believe he's still moving forward. Watch this, and I could go 10 different ways of this, but get the heart of it. Agent so-and-so went to see a friend of mine the other day asking questions about a name similar to mine, probably artwork, probably I have a copyright on it, but it's certainly, I'm never going to tell you it's me, but now I feel harmed by your office. Can you please send me the form one would fill out when they've been harmed by your office? Okay? Step 5, Congressman so-and-so, I need to send you a PSQ now, and I'm also going to send you a rate sheet to bill you for the harms against me, because after 4 correspondences to you, you have gone mute while I was relying, and now I must ask you not only to send me the rate sheet and fill out this send me the form I would fill out for harms, but now I'm going to ask you to fill out this PSQ, and now I'm going to send you a rate sheet of what I bill per hour, because I'm getting a funny feeling I'm in commerce right now. I don't know why, Congressman, but I have a fear I'm in Congressman. I have a fear I'm in commerce, so isn't it your duty to relieve all my fears? Signed by my frightened family and children. You guys, do you understand what I'm saying to you? That little chain of events right there, you can't imagine. You can't, listen, let me tell you what it did for me, okay? And let me tell you about, I'm not going to tell you everything I've been through, but I'm going to tell you this. It got me to the point where the chief counsel for Department of Justice started writing my writings to me in handwriting, uppercase, lower name, comma, living soul next to my name on the front of the envelope, and the writings are all up my first, middle, last name, uppercase, lower, comma, living soul after him.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that chain of events, folks, the PSQ, Congress gets to know who the servant is before the servant gets to know who you are. And so, this is a weird thing that's going to happen here, guys, but this is really strange and funny. But David A., we have a propane tank in our house, and it's got a bad leak, and the guy's here to fix it, and he needs me to help him move the washer real quick. So can you sing a song for 5 minutes, and I'll be right back?
Yeah, absolutely. I got your back.
Yeah, you guys want to do 20 bottles of beer on the wall. I'll be back.
All right, no worries.
I'll be right back.
I'm hearing a lot of background noise, guys. Cars,
I don't know what that is, but it's really annoying.
If you're not talking, star 6. That's the simplest way to do it, folks. Everybody. And then star 6 when you want to talk.
What I want to share, and kind of it'll complement what's going on with Mike there and what he's talking about, is that there's a statute that says that the omission of the Christian name means that they cannot obtain jurisdiction. And I'm going to pull that up here for you guys, and I'll actually read you the statute. And I think it goes in there with, I've got it in here in the abatement section. My files probably look like everybody else's files. I got so many of them. So here it is. Here's how it's written. It's called authority. And it says, the omission of the Christian name by either plaintiff or defendant in a legal process prevents the court from acquiring jurisdiction. There being no other description of identification and no appearance or waiver of process. And then there are the case laws to back it up. One of them is Whitney versus Massmore, if you want to take a note of that. And the other one is Thompson versus McCorkle, and that's McCorkle. So this call's being recorded, so you'll have it as well. And then the other authority is one ruling case law 53,55 in 1914, and then the other authority is Article 4, Federal Bill of Rights, 1791. So there is writing out there that says, if you address me in any other fashion than who I am as a living, breathing man or woman standing upon the land, you cannot acquire jurisdiction. I was talking to Stephen earlier today. We had a short conversation, and he made a very, very strong point of the same thing we were talking about. And it's the fact, look, either you're going to talk to me who I am and how I am here in front of you today, or we got nothing to discuss. It's that simple. Because as you all know,
I'm back.
Okay, groovy. And so here's what I just covered, Mike. I just talked to them about the omission of the Christian name, and if you and by a plaintiff or a defendant in a legal process, if they talk to you in any other way, a court cannot acquire jurisdiction.
Yeah, I mean, again, people. There's all different types of people on this call. It's never too late. It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to assert what you're going to do. This TSQ. All I'm saying, I'm not saying that at the end of the day that there may not still be something ahead. But why not start off with your opponent at that point having violated 21 congressional laws?
That's also called the proper name, by the way.
Yeah, fair enough. In proprietary persona, I like that. That's cool.
No.
What?
Just the proper name. In proprietary persona means in the proper person. That's a whole different animal.
Okay, so tell me what you're saying there, because proper person is what I consider me. What are you saying? And when you say that,
you don't want to use the word person because they use the word person. That's a legal entity. I said the same thing as the Christian name, and if people find that offensive, they can just say, well, it's my proper name.
Or watch this. Or my honest name, as my mama named me. My honest name.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But in proprietary persona means in my proper person, and you don't want to use the word person.
Well, I'll say that he's correct, folks, on what he's saying about the person being a corporation. They do that. They're little words, identity, it meaning same as, entity, corporation. They ask you where you reside, and the word means reside, come out of your capacity as living into the world of the dead. And as I said last week on the call, and knowing from firsthand through listening, the DOJ argues that U.S. Supreme for the living unborn fetus under Article 9. They don't argue it under Amendment 9. They argue it under Article 9. That's the living versus the 14th Amendment dead. And that's a very interesting thing to listen to because they know. So it is what it is. But what I was going to read earlier, which gives us, and I talked about this, and I'll say this and then I'll read it. Well, I'll read it and then I'll tell you what I said last week, and then we can take more questions and then actually move on if we want. Here we go. It's Federal Crop Insurance Corporation versus Merrill, 1947 case. Whatever the form in which the government functions, anyone entering into an arrangement with the government, here we go, listen, takes the risk of having accurately ascertained, so it's your risk to take, folks. It's your risk to take. So takes the risk of having accurately ascertained that he or she who purports to act for the government stays within the bounds of his or her authority. And this is so even though, as here, the agent was not aware of the limitations upon his authority. So we talked about this. Last week. A judge, while sitting in front of you, if you're going to choose to enter in, or you're forced to, because most people on this phone probably wouldn't enter in, but if you're forced to, then you can do one of two things. You can say, Judge, you cannot hold me in contempt while I'm ascertaining yours and others' authority in this place. And he'll know that's true. Not while I'm ascertaining. Now watch this. Let's add some real teeth to that. Judge, I know what my honest name is. If you release me from this unlawful detainment, I'll have my mother draw up an affidavit telling you having her tell you what my honest name is. I've probably got 250 documents recorded in the public record unrebutted that will tell you what my name is. So, Judge, if that's what you are, and I'm going to give you a chance to be one, if you are going to make me, under contempt, respond to a name that's not mine, you are suborning perjury. You are threatening me under contempt to commit perjury. You understand that, folks? You are suborning perjury. You are making me, on the record, under threat of imprisonment and unlawful detainment, acknowledge that I am something I clearly know I'm not. It is subornation of perjury. It is causing me to commit perjury. Does anybody want to discuss that?
No, I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, so these little things are all leading up to a big picture of, okay, if forced in, how do I stop it beforehand? The PSQ is an ascertaining vehicle, is all it is. Congress gets to know who the servant is before the servant gets to know who you are. Anybody want to discuss that at all? The truth is, there's new to old on this call. Some are going to be like, all right, Mike, you're beating this thing. But you know what? Those same people, when it comes to grand jury, it's really nice to line up things to grand jury. Now, I'm going to say this about grand jury, if anybody wants to talk about that, because it seems to be a hot, heavy topic as well. Grand jury is corporate. We know that. So, okay, so what? So it's powerful and they can do what they want and they stack it and yada, 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 yada. Exculpatory evidence. Why, if the grand jury foreperson is also a servant and a peer, can one not alarm or inform the foreperson through the U.S. attorneys or write to them, I have exculpatory evidence which would clearly exonerate me from any problems we're having here. It is not my desire to hamper a lawful investigation, but merely to help come to its amicable resolve. I have exculpatory evidence. And for anybody who doesn't know what that means the stuff they don't want you to bring into court and will strike at every point. So watch this. The PSQs go forward as for your first piece of exculpatory evidence. All your writings to your congressman are your exculpatory evidence. They're going to deny it through the U.S. attorneys. They're going to get a PSQ. They're going to fail at the PSQ. You're then going to bill the U.S. attorneys. And now watch this. I'm going to tell you an aggressive move I made. I don't suggest it at all, but I'm just going to tell you how far it can be taken. Mr. Grand Jury foreperson, either a U.S. attorney is hiding my writings from you or you yourself have harmed me. Can you please send me the form one would fill out if they feel like they've been harmed by the grand jury foreperson? And from there, with no response, I billed the foreperson through 3 rounds of billing and filed a UCC-1 lien against the entire grand jury, making all previous supposed rulings null and void. So, does anybody want to discuss that?
What has happened with that case, and was there any retaliation?
That turned into the postmaster himself committing mail fraud, 100 senators receiving all the exculpatory evidence, the 4 grand juries failing.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
If they're coming at you for some type of business audit or something of that nature, is this still applicable?
Well, let me say this, just to be clear, and I know you know what you're saying, Bobby. They can never come at you. If they're coming out after the artwork and wanting you to pay the price for it, abatement. Next subject, abatement. One ruling case law. I'm going to read this to you guys because last week I didn't, and it's important. The PSQ and the abatement is a 1-2 punch. Let me say a sharp double-edged sword that can't be beat, guys. It can't. It is what it is. Now, again, if there are government agents on this phone, if you're pissed off about that and you're going to go run and tell your bosses, oh, well, when you do this to us, you're doing it to your own children, you're doing it to your grandchildren, and you need to wake up. You need to wake up. You need to realize that you're serving the wrong master by all means. So if there's anybody on this call who's here not as a friend but a foe, we're not against you. We're here for you. But when you do this to us, you've done it to your family, and you need to wake up. And you need to realize that. So I'll say no more about that. Here we go. I'm going to read this. What's that?
What was that term you said? You can't hold me in contempt while I'm ascertaining what?
By ascertaining. In other words, Judge, number one, two problems I have today. Well, I'm not done ascertaining that any of you are even who you say you are, so we're not going anywhere until then. Number two, you're going to make me speak about a name where I have overwhelming evidence. And by the way, Judge, my evidence sits in the public record outside of your court record. And if you attempt to tell me that it's not valid, that's a tortious interference of contracts. It's an abrogation of the public record, and it's a violation of your oath, Article 1, Section 10. No state can impair the obligation of contracts. Where would you like to go today, Judge? Because I'm buying if you want to go to lunch. You have to have that mentality with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Wow. So, abatement. I can't open it right now, of course, but I'm going to tell you about one ruling case law. One ruling case law is what sets up the confines of how statutory cases are built. What's that? Did I get a hallelujah? Okay. So check it out. One ruling case law sets up the confines of statute law. And I'm going to paraphrase, but what I'm paraphrasing, like when I paraphrase HJR 192, which I've heard a lot of talk about that, about being repealed. If somebody wants to bring that up later, we'll go through all that junk. One ruling case law says, if a case is brought against the defendant and the defendant fails to plead an abatement, now I don't plead anything. I respectfully demand. So we're going to switch it up a little, but I'll just tell you what one ruling case law says. All future matters brought against that same defendant will be brought on the defendant and as if he were the real living person. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's there. Trust me, it's there. So in other words, what they're saying is if you don't plea in abatement, that all future matters under that name that are brought into their courts, under their jurisdiction, will come down on the living. And it goes on to say that this applies when the defendant is a corporation as well as in criminal cases. And then here's the big one, folks. When a misnomer, a wrong name is purported, that's what an abatement is. It's a beating down. Yeah, somebody's putting it up there. One ruling case law 5355 from 1914. One ruling case law. So when an abatement is put in, it's a beating down of a misnomer, of a wrong name. Abatement means to beat down, to beat it down. No, this doesn't exist. I'm beating it down. So when I tell plaintiff, this is my honest name, and when I certainly can back it up with lots of documentation, if it is in fact me you seek, Mr. Attorney, then then spell my name honestly. Otherwise, if you are speaking about watch this now, I'm going to take it a little further and we'll back up. If it is in fact me you seek, my name is John Michael Smith, uppercase lower, so that a 12-year-old can understand. Please see the 22-page memorandum of law on the name, because that 22-page memorandum of law on the name is done by the top English experts and English experts in the world and in the country, and all of them say, all uppercase styling is an intergovernmental styling for vessels and ships and all that good fun stuff. So that 22-page memorandum of law on the name is powerful. Powerful, because it lays it out. That's an exhibit to your abatement. That abatement, that one ruling case law says, if an abatement is put forth, plaintiff, here we go, guys, listen. Plaintiff may amend the writ. So, Joe Blow attorney writes a writing to my house, an offer in commerce, we know. I say, I am Bob John Michael Smith, spelled uppercase, lowercase, so that a 12-year-old can understand. If it is in fact me you seek, simply change your docket or your offer to my honest name. I also have a copyright on the artwork that you are addressing. If it is in fact the artwork you seek, I get $250 per hour to discuss the artwork. I get $5,000 a week for travel fees if I'm traveling inside my county. I get $10,000 a week if I'm asked to travel outside of the county for the artwork. I need a $25,000 retainer. If I don't hear from you in 10 days, I'll consider this matter dismissed. So you see, when we did the radio show, it was about getting them all three realms, common law, commercial, and statutory, right from the get-go. I just got them statutorily, I just got them in common law, and I just got them in the commercial realm as well. So when I tell him that very thing, who I am, he has the right, according to one ruling case law, to amend his writ. So ready, folks, and everybody, I want you to think about this. When he doesn't amend his writ, and he can't, and he won't, then it's very clear it's not you he's seeking, isn't it?
That's right. Correct.
Because if plaintiff may amend writ and he doesn't, what is the next writing going to say on it that he sends, next offer? right across the front of it in big, bold red writing, plaintiff waives right to amend writ and send it back certified mail to all parties involved. The next writing comes. Plaintiff waives right to amend writ, send it back certified mail, return receipt. By the third time, as Judge so-and-so knows, plaintiff is abusing the court while waiving right to amend writ. Watch and see, folks. Watch and see. Watch.
They actually say that you're abusing the courts?
No, you say. You say on the third round when the judge is continuing to let plaintiff move forward while not amending the writ, as Judge so-and-so knows, John Doe doing business as uppercase John Doe doing business as attorney continues to abuse the court while waiving right to amend writ. Now, what did that just do? It just brought the judge into a world he didn't want to be involved in.
Right. That's right. My name is James, by the way, Mike, and I'm in Florida as well.
Hey, James, how are you, man?
Good, thanks.
Yeah. So any questions on that? Go ahead, folks. Because it's not that, folks. And let me say this before we take questions. Yoke is easy, burden is light. What's so freaking difficult about saying, answer this 21-page PSQ and get my name right?
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Mike, is that sequence available as a template?
Absolutely. Not at all. Most people on this call should have that. So if whoever you are, whoever got you here.
Shout out some emails.
Bank fraud.
Let's do this one at a time. And I know everyone wants to just, if you hear somebody else talking, let's do one at a time. So somebody start. Go ahead.
Bankfraud at Cox.net.
Okay, I got bankfraud at Cox.net.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Jay Sorensen at POL.net.
Okay, that's going to be JaySorensen.
Just the letter J, SORENSEN at POL.net.
Okay, and I've got another one. Whoever's taking those emails, thank you very much. Get with me later. And let's do this, folks. This is important. I got another one. It's choose, CHOOSEBOTH, choose both at gmail.com. I've got another one. It's PROMORFIN at hushmail.com. I've got another one here. It's Transmitto, TRANSMITTO at Comcast.net.
I'm sorry. Let me mute him. What did you say?
Mute who? Okay, and then I've got another one. By the way, the gentleman who said shout out emails, are you taking these down?
I'm getting most of them. There's what is?
All right, hey, listen.
POL.net for Jay Sorensen, Paul Oscar Lima.
Correct.
Okay, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Some of the people who are on the website, on these TalkShoe website, I'll send you all this stuff. I've got you all here. I'll take care of all those. If anybody else wants to call them out, go ahead. I mean, you guys, we gave you guys a URL. Let me give it to you guys because you can log in there and get on the chat. If you want to, it is www.talkshoe, TalkShoe.com/TC/41875. There's a chat there, and you just send me your email, and I'll send you all this. But
/what?
after the talkshoe.com /T as in Tom, C as in Charlie, and then another /41875.
You said TP?
T as in Tom, C as in Charlie. Get in on the chat. Okay, but listen, we're not going anywhere. Somebody got you here, and most of you already have this stuff, but we'll get it to you, folks. You know, so the bottom line is, you guys, that's it. This is not rocket science. We don't need to get all weirded out about this stuff. I know what my mama named me, and you've got to. If you want to start off by violating 21 congressional laws, and I say that loosely, let's play ball, okay?
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
Mike, will the abatement work on appeal?
Hold on. I have a gentleman talking. Will the abatement work on what?
No, this
appeal
until 2 minutes before I called you.
Okay. Well, the question was, will the abatement work on appeal?
Yes.
The abatement.
This is my friend that's talking now. This is the guy that helped.
Hey, ma'am, whoever you are saying this is my friend talking now, can you please mute yourself? I'm glad I'm your friend, but that's all good. Okay, so will this work on appeal? Is the name right or is the name wrong on the docket?
Wrong.
Okay, folks. Again, let's break some paradigms here. Let's break some paradigms here. When you're in school, you're taught to learn every day. Biblically, you're taught to increase wisdom daily. What's wrong with learning the abatement today and saying, you know what, Judge, I figured out a problem here today. I'm not the guy on your docket. Sorry, my mom's still alive, and she created an affidavit yesterday saying she named me this. Does anybody have any controverting evidence? And oh, by the way, Mr. U.S. Attorney, I've never met you, and since this is in commerce and all crimes are commercial, Title 27, how could I have possibly offended you or owe you anything when I've never met you? And oh, by the way, all the documents that you're trying to use against me are only signed by one party unilaterally, and that's my signature, so I control the contract. So on and on and on and on. It just gets to be stupid at the end of the day. These guys, fear, folks, fear is what cripples you. I would rather go forward in fear, that's called faith, than give in to these rogues. Listen, and I'm going to get preachy here for a second, and then I'm going to stop getting preachy. You had better learn that God controls the hearts of every man. You had better learn that God controls the hearts of every man. Let the fear of God, that is the beginning of all wisdom. Why? Why does it say that? Two things about Scripture that make it so powerful, and for you non-believers, listen in. The two things about Scripture. The fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom. Why? Because if He controls all the hearts of all men, and He tells you He loves you, and He'll never harm you, you got it. Number two, love thy Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love thy neighbors as yourself. Why? If we did those, we wouldn't need law. That's why it says those things sum up all of the law. So the bottom line is, for those of you who are in fear, it's because you got a problem with God. And here, how do we remedy that? God, I'm sorry. Take the fear out of my heart. Ta-da! And then put in a PSQ and an abatement and have a good life. So the bottom line to it is, but we'll get practical again. Any questions on PSQ or abatement?
Mike, this is Steve. I just want to make one comment, that the golden rule you just quoted is in every single religion. So.
Yeah, so, but practically it's simple. Folks, it's simple. It's simple. It's simple. I don't know what else to say. Now, the fear part, that ain't simple. You're talking to a guy who's wept at his wife's feet. I mean, the first offer I got from them was 20 years, 6 felonies, or, without even ever telling me what I did supposedly wrong, 2 misdemeanors if I pled guilty to what I don't know and a year's probation. And that was many years ago. And I looked at him and said, I'm a little better than that. So the reality of it is, the fear of knowing that at 5 in the morning they might be coming in and explaining that to my children and having them be okay with it and explaining it to everybody and saying, God, I'm not, it doesn't matter. I'm not giving in. You don't understand. If you're going to test me, you're going to test me. But the PSQ and the abatement let me know, no matter what, I've already beat them through Congress, and I've already beat them statutorily, commercially. So whatever happens now is just sheer brute force, and I can rest well because now the fear of men, the reverence of God is the beginning of all wisdom. If they hurt me now, it's the will of God.
If I could chime in on this a little bit.
Yes.
I would just like to say that writing your judges and things for simple things like traffic tickets, stating some of the simple facts like you just said, is this a judicial or are you acting in a ministerial position, if this is in commerce, well, where's the contract that makes, me liable for any of this and such things. And I've had success with that.
Yeah. And listen, I'm hitting it at a pretty high level because I've had to do it at a high level. But a lot of people are asking on this, does the abatement zero out the account, discharge, and close issue? Watch this, folks. I can tell you this. There's plenty of judgments against my artwork. Never has it been brought to my doorstep. My artwork has had 9 arrest warrants out for them over the past 9 years. Never have they visited my doorstep. So does that mean that they're not going to go forward with their commercial world and their statutory world and put a judgment against all caps boy? I could care less because, as I said last week, and let me tap into this, and there are some geniuses on this phone call at structuring and asset planning. If you think it matters that your straw boy has bad credit, you don't get it. If you don't understand that you're walking into a comply or else environment in the next 4 years, who gives a rip about credit? You better start planning now through proper structuring, getting assets out of your name into non-public trust. You better finding a way to get into metals. You better find a way not to have everything have to be stored here, all your metals, and you better start opening your mind and branching out around the world and figuring out a plan. You better. Now, no fear in that. The Bible says that people perish for lack of wisdom. I'm talking about Joseph. I'm talking about who is the wise and faithful servant, those who feed the people when the famine comes. If you can't even feed yourself because of lack of planning, what good are you? You are just like the people on the Sermon on the Mount saying, where's the fishes, where are the loaves? And he's going to be saying, you were the bread makers. What happened? You were the ones who were supposed to be making the bread. You were the ones supposed to be feeding the people. So the bottom line to it is you better start thinking outside the box. I can tell you that I'm going to give you guys an email, and if you just want to contact some people, and listen, I'm not a promoter. I don't make a dime off what I'm about to say, nor am I going to. So if those who know me know that's true. I don't want a dime from any of you. I'll take silver and gold. I don't want Federal Reserve notes, though. I'm kidding. Take down this email. These guys right here are incredible structurers. I used to do that myself. I know it very well. These guys, you can trust them. An email. It's N as in Nancy, O as in O, Y as in, I'm not a military guy, Y as in Yankee, S as in Sam, B as in Bravo, at safe-mail.net. So that, again, I'm going to do that again. N-O as in Octagon, Y-S-B at safe-mail.net. I will, if you guys think you're an expert in an area and you can help people, I will be the one to challenge you and find out if you are. And then I will bring you to all these people on this call. Those guys right there can do structuring. Yeah.
Mike, you're going so fast. It's like, can you slow down just a little bit, man?
Yeah, you know what? People tell me that. I guess I got to start believing them. Okay, here we go again. N is in Nancy, O is in Octagon, Y is in Yankee, S as in S, B as in Bravo, at safe, S-A-F-E, -mail.net. Those guys, when it comes to...
Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Charlene, and I live in the state of Ohio. And I have diplomatic immunity papers filed at the Department of State in Washington, D.C., and with the Secretary of State in Ohio.
Okay.
And it's a real fast, quick, easy shortcut for your name. You do an asseveration on your name, and you file it with the Secretary of State in Washington, D.C. Mine has been signed by Colin Powell. And whenever I am asked to visit the bar, I don't enter. I just give them a copy of my papers from the Department of State that spells my real name and says who I am.
I love it. So what I would call that, and I have one as well, it's an act of standing and identity, apostille. But if you want to give out your email, ma'am?
No. I don't know how many people on this call were at Sam Kennedy's Rockland seminar.
Okay.
3 years ago. And I took the papers to Sam Kennedy, and it's called Public Notice Declarations on Lawful Protest.
Okay.
Okay. And it's signed by Colin Powell, which is a very hard thing to get done.
Sure. I would agree with that.
I did this in the year 2000. Now, this document still stands today. And anybody comes to knock on my door, I simply hand them this document signed by Colin Powell, and I say, this is who I am. They can't do anything. All they can do is turn and walk away.
I like it. Now, let me ask you, ma'am, is that still, obviously Colin's, I think he's hanging out with bin Laden somewhere, but the reality of it is, can somebody still get that, preferably through you or people you know, if anybody wants that? Do you have access to that still?
Well, yeah, I told, matter of fact, Sam Kennedy put it out all over his website.
Okay, so do you want to give out an email where people can contact you about that? If not, that's fine. It's up to you.
Hey, if people want this document, I'll scan it and I'll email it to them. It's 11 pages.
All right, awesome. So you want to give out your email?
Sure. It's berryhill.charlene.
Now, was that Barry or Barry? Can you spell that out letter by letter?
BERRYHILL.
Okay, so let me stop you there. Barry Hill, folks. I was trying to repeat after you, but I won't do that because I was interrupting. Barry as in Barry, BERRYHILL. Go ahead.
Charlene with the C.
C-H-A-R, wait, let me get that out. C-H-A-R-L-E-N-E?
Correct.
Okay.
C-H-A-R, what now?
L as in Laura, E as in elephant, N as in Nancy, E, dot what?
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Okay, there you go, folks. So for any of you who want that, that's
okay,
nice.
now this document was compiled within a 2-year time frame, and it has every U.S. code in it to back everything up, and it also has observations on your name, and it tells you that Congress is not the real Congress. It tells you about the corporate United States, and it tells you everything under the Act of Ratification, the trustee, the trust, the decedent. It's quite a document, and
yes, and the beauty of it is now we get to have Quentin sign it. I'm excited about that.
Well, the secret. Okay, I will gladly scan and get this document out to whoever requests it. But the secret is you have to have 21 pre-1933 silver dollars.
I remember that. We used to do silver bonds back in the day with that very concept in mind.
Well, no. This is not a silver bond.
No, I know. I understand that. I'm just saying, with that concept of having the silver dollars, there's a lot to that. We won't get into all that, but I'll tell you what. Let's do this. I really appreciate that.
21 silver dollars is international.
Very good. Well,
yeah, because it's in the document, and because even if you use $21 in postage stamps and send it to a congressman, it makes the document that you sent international. That's
very good.
That's the purpose of 21 silver dollars. Or
hey, Mike.
Yes.
Or you mail something to your congressman, put $21 worth of postage stamps on it, international.
Very cool.
It has to be, Mike, it has to be 21 plus. In other words, it can't be 21 even. It has to be $21 and either, 1 cent, 5 cents, or just a tad more than 21.
Okay, thank you for that.
Probably plus the postage, too.
But
stamp postage, yes.
No, $21 and the postage of what you're sending, because you can't send $21 and then it would be they would take it. The postage would be off that. So you need to send 21 plus postage and whatever.
Yes, and stop. And another thing, stop using your zip code in brackets. Put the letters P as in Paul, T as in Tom, Z as in zebra in front of your zip code.
There are also those who have done zoning improvement plan number, and there are those who don't put it at all and still get the mail. So tell us your concept on that. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's the postal trade zone.
You know what? We need to do. I got to tell you, I've tapped into that over the years. I think there's a lot to this. What this lady is saying. What was your name again? I'm sorry, ma'am.
Charlene.
Charlene, I think there's a lot to what you're saying. I do. So I think if you would, I've got your email. I will email you, and you'll know it's me I'll just say hi, it's me, and you'll know it's me. And maybe we'll plan on, if you wouldn't mind, coming on. And there's a lot of talented people in that environment. I think we need to at least tap into that because every little thing helps. I'm just talking about two simple things, abatement and PSQ. But man, guys, be perfect. Do what you do skillfully. This stuff, these kind of, you wouldn't think, but the mailing, how you do the zoning improvement plan numbers, it all matters. So we don't want to discount any of it. So we'll be doing some killer calls here. I'd like to, I'll get with you on this, Charlene, and let's do a show on mailing. It's going to be important to do that, I think.
I actually didn't want to say anything. I wanted to remain silent, but things are so bad in the country right now that if we don't stay on the same ship, we're all going to sink.
That's true. Very good. Very well.
So Mike,
yes, go ahead. I heard a mic.
Yes, Mike, I just need to digress a moment. I was driving when you were giving the email, and I managed to get most of it. I'm going to read it back to make sure I have it correct. It's
no problem.
It's N as in Nancy, O as in Oscar, Y as in yes, S as in Sam, B as in boy, at safemail.net. Is that correct?
It's safe-mail, that little dash in the middle. Is that what they call it? Safe-mail.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those guys are guys. They can be trusted. I mean, they're good. They're thorough. I used to do that work, and we they're good. They're real good. So the key there. Let's go back to that a little bit. Watch this. Let's go through a little scenario. Assets. Okay. I've got a house. I've got some equity in it. Okay. You've only got equity based upon what the dollar's worth. So I've got $100,000 equity in it. We'll consider that $50,000 in another 6 months, because the purchasing power of your dollar is certainly going down. But you've got people messing with you. Well, you can encumber that asset with a non-public trust, lean it up, get rid of that. You can get it out of your name altogether. You can privately bank through the structuring. A lot of things. Now let's take it forward a little bit. Let's not be half-minded about this. Then it comes to the matter of, okay, what about a chipped Amero? What about a chipped dollar? Okay, fair enough. You got to branch your mind out into the international world and figure and get with people who can help you potentially bank outside of this country. Now, don't sit there and say, yeah, but the banking laws, There are ways. Trust me, there are ways to do it, and you need to start. There's people on this call who have done it successfully. There are ways to do it. So just start sending emails back and forward. Have a good time. Figure it out, folks. I certainly am not going to announce this, especially when we're broadcasting. I know it's not on the main web, but the people on this phone, including myself, know how to get things done. So the bottom line is, come outside of your shell, see outside of the good old U.S. and A, and then start branching out in your mindsets, those guys there can handle that. I don't want to jump too far. I'm feeling like we're done with abatement and PSQ. Anybody have anything to say about that? I've taken all these emails, folks. I won't be able to get to you till tomorrow, but I will email all of you the templates. And by next week, we'll have one website to go to every week, and whatever the week is, I'll put the date and all the docs that pertain to that conference call. So any questions on PSQ or abatement?
Yeah, I got a question on PSQ.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're involved already in a grand jury, can you implement it at any time? Can you bring it up and change course?
Okay, that's a great question, but it's also, man, with everybody on this call, everybody could be with different issues. So the bottom line is, that's a good one. I want to answer this. Let me take 1 minute and pause here. I don't want to just throw this off the cuff. It's so powerful, it could be dangerous for you. In other words, let me do this. Let me tell you about not my experience, but others' experience who have done what you just asked. They did it, and the pressure came down like nothing else. In other words, what was 5 years became 20, and whispered in their ear. And that should say something to those of you who are tuning in. What was a 5-year sentence? Was all of a sudden jacked up to 20? That's what the enemy whispers in your ear. Those who implemented that in the middle and stood on it, it turned out much better every single time than those who would have taken an attorney. That's all I can say about my experience with that. I do not want to influence you. I am not giving you advice there. I'm just telling you that those who did it because they learned the truth and went for the truth for truth's sake, no matter what may come, it worked out much better than if they had gone the course they were going to. So.
But Mike, what you're saying is the heat that comes down from this is tremendous.
Oh, well, no. What I said was what they'll whisper in your ear after you implement this can be tremendous to take in, because once you bring this light into their dark world, the darkness gets dark, I'm telling you. So it's all, guys, and it's all, by the way, rumors. It's all rumors. If it's not on paper in the legal world, for all, paralegals, how many paralegals do I have on the phone? If it ain't on paper, it doesn't exist. Can I get an amen from your paralegals? If it's not on paper, it doesn't exist. So what they're whispering in your ear matters not. However, when it's getting whispered in your ear, it can be painful, man. So anybody want to speak on any of that kind of stuff?
They only can see what's on paper.
That's right. And most of what they do, when they freak you out and get you to comply, is all done verbally.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'd like to give an email out real quick.
Okay, go ahead, my friend. Yeah, go ahead.
Searun, SEARUN, at Fidalgo, FIDALGO.net.
Okay, I gotcha. So there you go on that. The PSQ, Congress gets to know the servant before the servant gets to know you. The abatement, I know what my mama named me. If you can't spell my name honestly, then you've waived your right to amend the writ. If you've waived your right to amend the writ, then it's clearly not me you seek. And if it's not me you seek, quit sending your writings to my abode, please. Thank you very much. And by the way, I do control the straw man for those of you purists who don't want to have licenses and all that. I'm cool with that, but at the end of the day, why? I got a license. I sign it all caps, like the artwork, and I put a copy right next to it. And whenever a cop pulls it out and says, "Is this you?" I say, "That's funny. I'm right here. How can that be me?" So again, I love the purists, but I'm going to use both worlds. Don't matter to me. You call me double-minded, I call me wise, whatever. So the bottom line is those simple things going forward have a lot of effect. If you want to deal with the straw man, I'm going to abate, and I'm going to give you a rate sheet of what I charge to deal with the artwork. And if you write me again and violate the copyright, I'm going to bill you in. For all you administrative remedy people, I'm going to take it to a first, second, third notice of default. I'm going to put in a true bill. I'm going to put in a bond in the public record, and then I'm going to lien all your assets. Now, I can't tell you how many attorneys I've had come pay me cash for those liens. I guarantee you, and I promise you, I have had major law firms shut down because when I liened them, I got a hold of the Office of Financial Responsibility where their bond was held and informed them there was a lien against the bond and they couldn't reinsure for the following year.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that's all really cool stuff, but basics. Let's stop all the crap coming against us. For those of you who love OID and got into it without knowing why, I'm going to say shame on you. However, you shouldn't have to suffer for it. So that's what the PSQ is going to do for you. Next time, quit paying everybody to do what you need to do yourself, all right?
Mm-hmm. Can you back up and talk about your fee schedule?
Yeah, the bottom line to it is, if you're an attorney, you write a writing to me, and you tell me you get the name wrong always, and you write a writing to me, I'm going to tell you, that's not me, here's my honest name, here's my honest name, if in fact it's me you seek, send your writing back in my honest name. If it's the exact name you're writing, John Smith, all caps, or John D. Smith, or Smith John D., I have here's a recorded copyright that's been in the public record for 7 years. I charge $100,000 per writing of that name, and I will bill you, and yada yada yada. And if I don't hear back, if you don't send me a retainer, yada yada yada, I'll do a rate sheet. What I'll do for next week is I'll build a rate sheet. It's called a billing notice. I'll do a billing notice. Anybody who ever rates me, I tell them, here's my honest name, here's my billing notice if you want to deal with this entity. I send it out there. I probably 9 times out of 10, I never hear back from them. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, sure, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, guys, watch this. We are worthy of our hire. When they took our gold and silver, they took our full capacity to be everything we could be, in a sense. In a sense. I'm a spiritual guy, so I'm not going to go too far with that. In other words, I want to put a fan in my house. You would say, I got to go get what do they call those things you got to do to build your house? Come on, help me out. Permit to hang that thing. Are you kidding me? You're going to tell me I got to go? I don't think so. So by licensing and all this, we know that the end goal is to take our full capacity from us. At the end of the day, in doing that, all of these things, there's remedies for everything. When they did HJR 192 and all that good stuff and the OID stuff for the remedy, they knew, even though their system was flawed, it had to have integrity in the sense that it had to sustain itself. As evil as it may be, it has integrity in the formation of it. And it had to have remedies. So it's all there. It's our fault for not having them. And then, of course, there are those who do it exactly right and have to suffer anyways, and that's where that's what's supposed to happen then. That's just what's supposed to happen, and be okay with it. So, Any more questions on that stuff? Because my friend David A. has told me something that's very powerful, you guys, that I want you to hear. We have been doing the 1099-A process on foreclosures. We're having very good results with it. We went over that. We have now finished the default procedure. So next week, I'm going to back up. We're going to do the 1099-A on pre-05, and even now it's going to be pre-06 mortgage notes on how to get them just to disappear, and then do a proper default procedure if you're in foreclosure or if you're in if you just want to get rid of the note and not have to pay, and you know what I mean by pay anymore. That's a pretty powerful process. So I've been hearing some things, and David, I know that I want David to share a little, because next week's call we will do that. We'll go back over how to do the A process, and I know Steve's here with us tonight. He hasn't said much, but Steve, are you here tonight? Steve from Texas? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, man. There you are. I called on you earlier. I couldn't hear you. Steve's been going through this. Dave Day's been talking about this. We're going to go back over the 1099-A process with a mortgage, and then the default process that we've pretty much finished up today. But David A., what have you guys been doing? And we'll talk about this next week as well. Give us a little heads up on what you guys have been up to.
Well, it's going to piggyback a lot of what you're talking about here, Mike, because with your abatement and with your PSQ, you leave the position of defense and you go into a position of offense. And I've always believed that a great defense is a kick-ass offense. So what we're looking at right now, and there's several people on the call that are doing research, and we're accumulating a lot of information about a process, and I'm just going to kind of give you a general overview. But what you'll do is that if you've had somebody that's done you wrong, or foreclosure or court cases or what's going to happen or has happened, what you'll do is you'll file a federal case. And then you'll take the federal case and you'll put it into your local county courthouse. And you'll file it into your local county record. And then in addition to that, you're going to do some other things simultaneously. One of the things you're going to do is you're going to be a plaintiff here. So the defendants, you're going to want to, and we're working on this as well, on how to find their assets. In other words, you want to find their bank, you want to find their property, you want to find if they own motorhome and boats and cars and all their assets. In fact, the actual writing talks about everything, including what's inside their house, all their jewelry, everything, excluding their wedding rings. And then what happens here is that you file this by way of lis pendens. Now, if you look up lis pendens, you'll see the Latin word is there's a pending case. And so what happens is that as soon as you file this, and there's going to be a flow chart on how to do this, you have just seized the assets of the defendant. Now, that can be an attorney, it can be a law firm, it can be a judge, it can be whoever it is it's going to be, and now you've locked up and frozen their assets for 60 days. And it puts you in a very, very empowering position to be able to, because even in this flow chart, as part of the structure of this whole thing, you get to a point here where they're going to want to negotiate. Because if it's interesting, and we talked about this in our group here, is, there's three things you can do to any public servant out there, and if you can do one of these three, you're in great shape. If you can do all three of these, believe me, you've got this public servant right where you want them. Number one, you want to hit them financially. Number two, you want to threaten their pension. And number three, you want them to have a perceived threat of going to jail. And that's what this process does. Because basically what you're going to do in a federal case like this, you're taking it to a superior court, taking it all the way up to the top. And so these guys aren't going to be able to hide under the kangaroo court system where evidence is thrown out, or they won't allow it, or there's nothing being recorded because it's not a court of record. So the whole playing field, the whole 9 yards changes. Now, we've heard a couple stories about it. There was one guy, well, I don't even know if I'm going to go there because I don't want that part to get out, because let's just say that somebody used it, probably, shouldn't have used it, but it still works.
I love those.
Yeah, exactly. There was also a guy that was having let me tell you, there's a guy that was he was having a lot of trouble getting stuff filed in his county. Anybody on the call had trouble trying to get stuff filed, with their county recorder? Well, apparently this guy filed his federal case, went into his local county courthouse to file this federal process, and of course the clerk said, no, we're not going to let you. You can't file that here. Well, this guy kind of put his tail between his legs, went back outside. He called the clerk at the federal courthouse and told her what had just happened. And so he called up and introduced himself, and the woman said, oh, I remember you. You were just the guy in here who filed a federal case. And he said, yeah, well, here's what happened. I came down to my local county courthouse here, and my clerk won't file the document. And the woman said, here's what you do. You go back in there, and you tell that county clerk that she's got 5 minutes to file that case, or I'm going to send a federal marshal down here and I will have her arrested. So there's and I will tell you too, there's already there's success stories here that are going on, and these guys are coming to the table and they want to negotiate. So again, we're developing this. It's a development process, in motion here. And as soon as it's ready to talk a little bit more about, we'll put it out there.
This is Chris from Florida.
Hey, Chris. What's up, buddy?
Hey, just as a post note to what he just said, that you should be careful when and where you do it from, because there's a gentleman whose name is Maynard Campbell, and you could Google his name. He did the same kind of thing you did, but that you're talking about, but he did it against Janet Reno, and where he locked up her finances, her checks, her Visa, everything, credit cards, bank account, and she had him murdered in jail. So you got to be real careful of where you're at when you do this. So
I thought she shipped him back to Cuba. Oh, that wasn't him. I'm sorry.
No. Not Maynard Campbell. He was stabbed 22 times in prison.
Well, we're gonna as third parties to that, we're gonna probably assume that maybe that could have happened. But it's serious stuff. That's at the end of the day, it's serious stuff. So, all right, well, cool. Listen, I know that David's working with some very bright, friendly people. I had the privilege of talking to, so hopefully we can get them on this call and share their wisdom. Okay, guys, we probably got another 20 minutes. Let's just do an open forum. Anybody? Let me do it this way, and if it's not you, don't answer. Is there anybody who's really on this call who's just really struggling? Things are piling up against you in a place where you just feel like there's no way out, and don't answer me if you got a traffic ticket, you guys. All right, this call is to help people. Is there anybody on this call who feels like if they don't get some help soon, they just don't know what they're going to do? Is there anyone really struggling?
Yeah, Mike, this is Ken. Yes. We wanted to talk about the 1099 OID.
Okay. We can do a little of that, sure. But I'll come back to that, Ken. Yeah, that's right, Ken. Okay, let's do that. You know what? And then bummer. Ken, I forgot about that. Ken's a good guy, you guys. He's helped a lot of people. Ken, there's a lot of talented people on this call about that. Ask specific questions. Let's get those nailed down. Go ahead, my friend.
Okay, number one, is there a window from November to March 31st? When they process these automated documents.
For a window for what? 05?
No, to process the documents. If there's a window, is there a window to process the automated 1099 OID process documents?
When you say window,
you can put electronic filings in right now. I did one today.
No, yeah, what I mean is can you send the documents any time of the year, or can you only send them in and be processed at a certain time of the year, November to March?
Good question. Yeah, so a lot of people have been saying that there's specific months you can send things. That goes against everything I've seen work and be effective. In other words, I know if we're going to talk about 05, the deadline is now to get in 05. But as far as 6, 7, and 8, there is no from May to June is 05. I've heard people saying that. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask this gentleman a question? Well, are you doing this yourself?
Yes.
Okay, you shouldn't be. With all due and loving respect, you should not be doing it, because if you got to ask a question like that, you got a lot more to learn. I'm telling you that. I tell you that. I speak the truth in love, brother. I would do a whole bunch more research before I would.
Well,
go
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what. Though. Fair enough. You know what? Let's do it this way, though. Ken, that's fair what he said, but you can still ask all your questions and then make your decision. What he's saying may not be true. You know, but go ahead and ask all your questions. There is no window as far as we know. We are not tax experts on this call, but we know from what we hear from the experts. So the experts are saying no, there is no specific window. So what's the next question, Ken? It's all right. Let's just keep going.
Next question is, when you do the checkbook money, do you do the whole year to that account number? And the account number goes in the box.
Okay, that's for all you. I know. There's a young lady I talked to last week who's really good at this. Is anybody here wants to answer that?
Well, she's on the call and she's Skyping me, and I mean, I can't say anything other. Hold on a second here. She's Skyping. Hold on. Let's see what she says to me.
Well, if you don't mind, I know who you are, but if you don't, just don't give your name and answer the question. Nobody's going to know who you are. If you don't mind, if you don't want to, that's fine. Go ahead.
I'd be more than happy to talk to this man offline.
Okay. All right. You know what? Hey, Ken, I'm going to set that up for you tomorrow morning. Is that cool? And David knows what he's talking about. Is that fair, Ken?
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, man. All right. Let's go back to anybody really feel like if they don't get some help, it's the end of the road for them. Anybody on this call?
Yes.
Hey, Mike.
Ken?
Hold on. I heard a lady. Ladies first.
I just have a question. I have one of these paper bags that says bring it in for a free burrito. Is this something I should order ahead of time, or can I just bring it in and wait, or?
What? You have
This is Esther.
Okay. All right, cool. What time are you open till?
Oh.
Somebody's ordering food. I love it. I thought he was asking me that question. I'm like, listen, listen, bro. Go pick up the pipes some other night. All right, no, listen. All right, ma'am, I heard you. Go ahead.
This is Esther, and we talked about my 1099 OID problem last week.
Okay.
I'm the one where I got the money back, and now they're coming after me again for the money. And I do need to get the filings redone. I am not a tax preparer, and the place that I thought was going to be able to...
Hello?
I think she went out.
Okay. You didn't want her talking. That's funny, Steve. That's funny. You know what? You're mean, agents. Let us talk. Now, go ahead. Anybody else? Sorry, we lost her. Anybody else?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We won't miss anybody. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Is that you?
My question is not about the 1099 OID.
Okay, go ahead.
My fiance has been incarcerated on reference to perjury charges. Okay, and he's been sitting there for about 7 months now, and they gave him a bond of $50,000 full security. So I did a process where I accepted the bond for value, and I sent it into the Treasury. And also I did a Form 91 and Form 28 and sent that into the clerk office, and that's been about 30 days ago, and I have not got a response yet.
Oh, wow. You went all over the gamut with that one. Whew. May I ask you who told you to do all that?
Huh?
Who told you to do these things, if I may ask?
I can't really call any names right now, but I did the optional forms.
Wow. Anybody want to respond to that?
I guess what I'm asking, do I need to go ahead and proceed with the default since I haven't heard anything?
I'll tell you this. I won't say what you need to do. I'd say if I was you, if I were you, I would just to complete the process. However, you know what? Wow. Folks, let me say this about that. We can only start like we start. A situation like that takes time and effort. Ma'am, what's your email?
My email is MJ Black Diamond
at
AOL.com.
I'll get a hold of you. I'll get a hold of you on the side, okay?
All right.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one, and there may be nothing we can do on that other than, there's always something to do, but that's too heavy for the last 20 minutes.
I can go into a little more detail on the side.
That's fine. We'll do that on the side. Anybody else?
I'd like to chime in here a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
I'm in the construction industry. I had a construction business, and things have just kind of gone downhill, and have a commercial property with espresso stand. And that's in default, as well as my home also. I was kind of interested in the 1099 OID process. I've just been looking into it the past 6 months, so I'm not really too into it. I'm not really that informed on it, but
okay, well, next week, if you'd hang in there with us next week, I'm going to get a tax expert on the call and have them just talk about things that they're doing and what they've been doing. So they're not going to give their name, obviously, but we'll get somebody next week on the call to talk about those things. Meanwhile, we've got a great education package. Have you gotten that? Everybody should have that. It's everything that proves it up in one education package. So who brought you to this call? Just give a first name.
Rob.
Oh, gee, that helps. My bad. Okay, what's your email, my friend? I'm going to put down education package. What's your email?
crun@fidalgo.net.
Oh, that was you?
Yes.
Hold on, I think I have you down here. C-Run. You gave that to somebody else, but give that to me now. C-R-U-N.
S-E-A-R-U-N.
Okay.
At Fidalgo, Fidalgo.net.
Okay, my friend, I got you down for education package. I will send that to you tomorrow.
Mike, can I give my name for the same thing?
Yes. What's your email?
Bob.Allen, A-L-A-N, @Comcast.net.
Okay. Anybody else need that package? Oh, my goodness.
That's true.
Mike, this is Russell, Texas.
Okay, hold on. Texas, man, what was your name?
This is Russell, your notary.
Hey, Russell, how you been, man?
Well, I've lost contact with you, and I've been trying to contact you. So,
all right, well, we got it back, my friend.
What is your hush mail account again?
Mine, I don't have a hush mail. Give me your email, and I'll email you tomorrow.
R as in Robert, T as in Tom, M as in Mary, @texas.net.
At texas.net?
Yeah. Spell that.
Okay, I'll email you tomorrow, man.
Can you please email me also?
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. You know what? I'm stupid for doing this. Usually I handle this call well. Folks, by next week, I'm gonna take everybody I have now because I think they just cut these calls off. We will have all of this. We will have all of these documents onto our website by next week. And everybody who's emailed me or whose email I took today, I will send you the education package and the PSQ and the abatement and just start passing it out to your friends. I've got enough people who already have it and enough emails today to start getting it out. And by next week, we will have a specific URL that you can go to just to pick up all of these documents. And I'll categorize them and I'll put them all there nice and pretty and yada, yada, yada. So by next Wednesday, you'll have a place to go every week and get the documents pertaining to whatever conference call we do. Meanwhile, anybody with issues, anybody who's struggling, living on the streets, come on. Yes.
Hi. Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Rubina, and I'm pretty comfortable with the OID process. Except now, recently, I believe.
I'm in my room.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Somebody's talking, but go ahead. I hear you, ma'am.
Okay. IRS is responding to different filings in a different way, and
right.
I believe it could be a fair tactic. We got the letter today. It's dated March 9th, and today is only March 4th. And they're asking, they believe that we filed it incorrectly, but, basically if we can support our filings with the documentation, they will hold our refund for review until we send in the documentation.
Okay.
So I would put 9. Today is March 4th, and I believe I have a very strong feeling I can copy this, send it to the IRS commissioner and my congressman, But the fact is there is no signed name. It's just a computer-generated form.
Okay, what I think is going to work best for you is obviously they're having a problem with your procedure. I will have somebody here, and I'm going to tell you, the people that I'll bring on deserve to be given Fed notes to help you clean up your processes. That's what they do. That's what they can help you do. So if we can, right now I don't have any answers for that. I'm not a tax guy. I don't know how to amend OIDs or do, I don't know I understand the concept very well as far as why you can do it. I have no clue about procedures. So I will get people on this call next week to answer those specific questions. I wish I could help everybody today with that, because everybody, a week going by of having the thought that they're going to come mess, it can be very, what's a good word? Is egregious the right word? What does egregious mean, by the way? I heard that today. I like that word. What does that mean? Anybody know?
In the letter, date March 9th, and it's only March 1st.
Disconcerting. Thank you. Is that the word I want to use, though? No. Ma'am, on that, I just can't help you on that right now. I can tell you that you're welcome back next week. I'll have somebody who can. Is that fair?
Sure. Mike,
okay, great.
Mike,
yes.
People that
yes.
you're going to have on be willing to take new clients that need
yes.
help?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. It's going to be individuals who, if they want to get a hold of you, they'll take your email. The bottom line is I will call several groups of people and see who's willing to help people out individually. And then whoever I get, because I know about 12 of them who can do this right, whoever I can get who's not busy or working with other groups already but has time, then I will pick that person to come on and say, hey, we can help. And yes, we can make that happen.
That's awesome. The place that I was in touch with is only going to be able to do the 2005, and I actually need them to do 2007.
Yeah, I know this about that from what I hear from the experts. There's plenty of time to do 07, so I wouldn't be sweating that too much. Eventually you'll get to somebody. So that's just what I've heard.
Well, one of my
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
Just to chime in on that, the deadline you're dealing with right now for 2005 is April 15th. If you got 06 or 07, you're in good shape.
Well, I know, except this is a return that needs to be redone, and it was 07, and the OIDs on this return were 05, 06, and 07. So I'm wondering what redoing 05 is.
If you have to redo 05, if you're going to resubmit your 1099As and your OIDs, then you'll have to amend 05 with 1040Xs.
So do I have to do them year by year? Because the enrolled agent that did it for me the first time did 3 years of OIDs on one return, one tax year.
Well, that doesn't sound to me like that's going to work.
It didn't, trust me.
That's a big
Okay, so then what you'll have to go, remember, anything in commerce is fixable, so you'll have to go back, and for 05, you'll have to do your A's, your OIDs, and then you'll amend it with 1040Xs, and you'll do each year separately.
So part of the fix then is to go back and do each year separately.
Correct.
Okay.
And again, folks, if for those of you listening in, there are professionals who can do this. We will get you. We will get you to them.
Awesome.
And say a good prayer.
Yeah. All right. So I think they're going to cut us off soon.
Mike?
As a matter of fact, yeah,
Mike?
Go ahead.
Egregious is reprehensible, or something that's outrageously bad.
So that was the right word then.
Yeah.
Word.
Look at that, man. Even by mistake, huh? Come on. That's good. Thank you, Mr. Bill. I know who you are.
All right.
All right. So listen, guys. We don't usually end like this. It's been kind of I don't feel like this was very organized. It's my fault. I think a big problem here is not having the documents. I throw this stuff out there. By next week, we won't have to say anything. We will have the documents at the URL website, which I don't have yet, before we even do the show. So we spend a lot of time talking about these documents. So we'll have that nailed down. We're going to keep moving forward. It's going to close out here. I know it is. It's telling me that the call is about to end. So if we haven't done this yet, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but I'm going to start doing this. And if you don't want to be a part of it, just go ahead and hang up now. I'm going to pray for us because that's the most powerful thing we can do. So I lift up this group, Father. I pray for protection and wisdom. I pray for fear to be removed. Your word says that if we have fear, to lay it at your feet, and that you would be glad to take it from us. So, Father, all fear from everybody on this phone, lay it at your feet now, Father. We all agree and say amen, that you would just take this fear, take it away from us, Father, that we've been given the mind and the power beyond this earth, and that we want to use that. And faith is walking in fear. And, Father, as long as we know we have the truth and we come towards the truth, we know that that's where you're at. We know that you are truth, so we shouldn't be afraid. And even when we're afraid of going for the truth, we know you're standing there with open arms to cover us. And, Father, give everybody that heart that even though I'm afraid, I know I'm right. Even though I'm afraid, I'm right, and that's good enough, Father. So give us all that hope and that to get rid of that fear, Father. Father, I pray you anoint this call and protect everybody on it, that I become more thorough and get the documents to these people, that what we said here tonight will permeate through their hearts and minds, Father. And we need you. There's no way we can do this without you. There's no way we can do this without each other, as Charlene said. But, Father, we need you. We need your wisdom. We need your power. We need your strength. We need your humility. We need all things from you, Father. Forgive us for the things that we do wrong. Forgive us for the things that we do wrong, Father. We need to do that first. And we need to work in your power, not in guilt and shame. We know that all sin's been forgiven if we come to you. So thank you. Thank you for this call, for the people on it, for those who are hurting and going to bed crying. Give them comfort. For those who are afraid, take their fear. For those who are alone, fill their hearts, Father. Thank you for this time. We'll be back next week. Cover us all, Father. Cover us this week and anoint us for better things. In the name of Yeshua, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, you guys, awesome. Yeah, somebody call my name there?
Where did you get it all from?
All right, you guys, that's it. We're done. Hang up. I'll have all the docs by next week. I got a ton of emails I'll send out tomorrow. You guys enjoy your lives, be kind to your wives, and don't beat your kids too hard, all right?
Mike.
Yes.
Mike Matthew, Minneapolis. Right. You and I have been contacting each other. You've sent me the forms. I filled them out for the PSE process. Before I send them in, I want to make sure that somebody with some knowledgeable understanding can take a look, make sure I get everything filled out correctly.
What's your email?
It's the promorphin at safe.
That's you? Okay, yeah, you got me, man. Skype me tomorrow, man. Skype me tomorrow and we'll go over it, all right?
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay, you guys, have a great night. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Good night, Mike. Good night.
No. You there?